we've added and subtracted when there's a common denominator, and we've added and subtracted when there's not a common denominator, but our denominator is factored. Now we're going to add, subtract when there's not a common denominator and it's not factored. So the only extra step is that you have to factor the denominator first. And you're only caring about factoring the denominator, not the numerator. Okay? So you factor the denominator first, then you find your LCD, least common denominator, you fix your tops, and then you do the top plus or minus top over your common bottom. So you're thinking of this picture here, where your top plus or minus top all over your common bottom. Okay. So we're going to factor our denominators. This left one is already factored. This right one is not. So it factors to, has a common factor of 4, so it factors to 4n plus 1. Okay. I have to represent each factor. So we're doing ref HP. So we're representing each factor to the highest power. So I have to represent the n minus 5. I have to represent the n plus 1. And I also have to represent the 4. So this is my least common denominator. So then I'm going to compare. To go from here to here, I only have the yellow, so I'm missing both the red and the orange. So that means I need to multiply by 4 and by n plus 1. On my second one, I've got both the 4 and the n plus 1, but I'm missing the yellow one, so I have to multiply by n minus 5. When I look here, I can take the 2 and the 4 and multiply those and do the 8 times the n plus 1. So then that gives me 8n plus 8. And then I do the 5n times these two. So I get plus 5n squared minus 25n. Notice this was adding, so I didn't need to worry about distributing my negative. Then I'm going to find my like terms that are here. So I've got the 8n and the negative 25n that are like terms. So we get 5n squared. If we do 8n minus 25, that gives us negative 17n. And then plus 8 all over, keep the common bottom, so 4 times n minus 5 times n plus 1. So we did top plus top over the common bottom, but we had to fix our tops, okay, so that they were like tops. Or so that they would multiply so we could get to our common denominator. Okay. So then I'm going to look, can I multiply to 5 times 8? So can we multiply to 40 but add to negative 17? So we've got 1 and 40, 2 and 20, 3 doesn't go into it, and then 4 and 10, and then 5 and 8. So no, I can't factor, so then I'm all done. Okay. If we look at our next one, again, we have to factor our denominators first. So here this goes to x minus, not 3, x minus 2, x minus 1, and then on our second denominator I have a common 2, so if I take out the 2 I get x minus 2. So our least common denominator we have to represent ref Harry Potter. So we have to represent each factor to the highest power. So we're going to do x minus 2. Those are the same, but they're both to the first power, so I'm representing the highest power. So I get x minus 2. And then we've got x minus 1. And then I have to represent the 2 as well. So then this is my least common denominator. So then I'm going to compare. We have this one and this one, so which one of these things is not like the other? So I have the yellow and the orange, so I'm missing the red. So I'm going to times the top by the red, which is 2. I'm going to look to see I've got a plus, so I don't need to worry about distributing my negative. I'm going to compare. I have the red, I have the yellow, I'm missing the orange. So I'm going to times the top by the orange, which is x minus 1. Okay. So now I'm going to distribute on top. So this gives me 10x minus 2 And this gives me plus 3x minus 3. Then I'm going to find my like terms. So 10x plus 3x is 13x. And then negative 2 minus 3 is negative 5. All over, keep the common bottom. I can't factor the top at all, so then this is my final answer. Okay. So here I need to factor the denominator, so I get x minus 3, x plus 1, and then x minus 3, x plus 2. So my common denominator, I have to represent each factor. Got an x minus 3 on both of those, but they're both to the first power. I have to represent the x plus 1, even though there's no other one. It's to the first power. And then I have to represent the x plus 2 to the first power. So now I compare my denominators. From here to here, I'm missing the red, so I'm going to times by the x plus 2. If I compare this denominator to this denominator, I've got the yellow and the red, so I'm missing the orange. So I'm going to times by the orange, which is x plus 2. Okay. Now, I do have this negative, so I need my negative here. So I could do this one of a couple of ways. I could multiply these two and then times it by a negative. I could distribute the negative to both of these, so then I get negative 5x plus 3. And then when I multiply these two, that will automatically distribute my negative. I prefer this option because then I don't have to remember after I've done some multiplying that then I need to change the signs. So I like to distribute my negative and then multiply these two. If you need to, you can still do your boxes off to the side. So you've got negative 5x plus 3 and x plus 2. So this gives us negative 5x squared plus 3x minus 10x plus 6. So then we have like terms here. So then on the top, we've got negative 5x squared, negative 10x plus 3x gives us negative 7x plus 6. And then don't forget, we didn't do this one yet. So let's see here, 5x plus 1. And x plus 2. So we get 5x squared, x, 10x, and 2. Okay, so we've got like terms here. So then we've got our 5x squared plus 11x plus 2. So 5x squared plus 11x plus 2. Yep. So now I look for my like terms over here. So we've got 11x minus 7x. We've got 5x squared minus 5x squared. And then we've got the 2 and the 6. So if we do the 5x squared minus the 5x squared, that gives us no x squareds. If I do 11x minus 7x, that gives us 4x. And then if we do 2 plus 6, that gives us 8. All over, keep the common bottom. Okay. I look to see if I can factor on top. I can. There's a common factor of 4. So if I factor out the 4, I get x plus 2 over x minus 3 times x plus 1 times x plus 2. And then notice here, these can reduce to 1. So then my final answer gives me 4 over x minus 3 times x plus 1. So again, it doesn't happen super frequently that the top can be factored, but every once in a while will happen, and then every once in a while even more, you'll have something where you can cancel it. If there's nothing that cancels, you can keep this portion or this portion as your answer. Both of them are fine because there was nothing in common.